right. Merry Christmas. Wow, it is December 15th, 2023. We're getting ready for 2024. And today's video is going to be all about how to land a six-figure job in cybersecurity and cyber sales in 2024. Wow, what a crazy year it's been. Really blessed year, really fun year. Got married, had fun, a lot of cool stuff. If this is your first time kind of tuning in, I have been the head of a recruiting department in cybersecurity, and I've also been an account executive in cybersecurity. And this is really just to help you guys, navigate. It's a crazy time right now. You know, inflation, cost of living, AI, the whole works. It's a crazy time of living. So I hope this video helps you guys land the job you want. We actually had 2 wins this week with students and subscribers. We had one person get an account executive role in cybersecurity. He got the job, and we were texting back and forth about it. And another person who got a BDR job in tech specifically. So yeah, definitely I hope this helps. And I hope this kind of really adds to making 2024 one of your best years yet. So let's get into it. So we're going to break it down a few different ways. I'll let you guys know right now that 99% of Fortune 500 companies use an ATS system. What is an ATS system? ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. By the way, you're probably going to want to watch this and then maybe come back and watch it again and take notes. It's kind of the best way to do it. But 99% of Fortune 500 companies have an ATS system. This is the HR software that companies are using to filter out, keep track and organize, as well as filter out people's resumes and keep in contact with certain candidates. Okay, I've used, 6 or 7 different ATS systems over time. And a new statistic that just came out is nearly 60% of these companies are going to invest in AI ATS systems. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that when you apply to a job, and I'm sure if you've been job hunting for a while, you've seen that there's a lot of jobs that it's a couple hundred people are applying to roles, or sometimes a couple thousand I've seen, which is pretty crazy. What an AI ATS system do is it's going to funnel everybody. It means it's going to take the 500 resumes and then spit out, and then use an algorithm and spit out to the recruiter that here's your top 20 to 50 candidates that are going to be able to do the job, but also have the best likelihood of success within the company. And there's certain parameters that you could put in AI software, kind of leadership type or communication types, or certain things on the resume with skills or tools or things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to be breaking down. Oh, by the way, make sure to always check out the description. I always leave a bunch of recommended resources and a ton of freebies. So definitely check that out as a resource center. But today we're going to break down the resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, ways to differentiate yourself, cybersecurity basics to help you in the interview, a job hunting strategy, and some continuous learning and some other recommended resources. Hopefully I can do this all in 20 minutes because I have a meeting at 9:30 and I need to make sure to be there. So, things you need. Resume. First off, resume is your way to get your foot in the door. I made a video about a year ago on how to create a winning tech sales resume. Honestly, you can use that for any type of resume. I go over all the basics in 20 to 30 minutes. I also include templates of what you should be doing. And I've seen over 100,000 resumes. I kind of kept the ones that I thought were like, whoa, this really stood out to me. And I kind of reworded them so, made them blank so it didn't reveal any specific information. They're all in the free resume resources, guys. So I have Google Drive in the description. Feel free to use that. There's a bunch of resources with scripts, tips, the templates that you can utilize, okay? And there's a bunch of variety, so there's not one that's the same. So I recommend using those as resume templates. Some big things for the ATSs. So the ATSs, if you look at the jobs, what I would recommend is if you look at certain companies and you look at the people in the companies, they're going to list on their LinkedIn skill sets the tools that they use, and some of the descriptions are on the job ad itself. You want to start layering that into your resume. Also, make sure to be aware of acronyms. So say you're trying to get an SDR position, right? SDR stands for Sales Development Representative. So on your resume, you want to make sure you put Sales Development Representative, parentheses, SDR. This will help your probability of getting through the AI ATS system, okay? Because the recruiter might be like, you know what, I'm not going to search sales, there's everybody has it on their resume. I'm going to search for SDR specific. All right, SDR, boom, 30 matches. Great. I'm going to call these people and set up interviews. So that's why you want to make sure that you're playing probability there. That's one way I would recommend. Make sure if you're doing sales specifically, you're putting certain tools, most notably probably LinkedIn Sales Navigator if you can pick one, and then maybe a second one is CRM. Okay. So that's one. For your cover letter, you want to make sure, I also have included a cover letter, but you want to make sure you have a cover letter. Frankly, I'd be very surprised if a lot of recruiters are reading the cover letters. Right now, it is a client market. There's just, everybody's kind of job hunting. So they're not really reading it, but it's always good to have. It's always good to have, especially when you're starting to do panel interviews and you're going up the chain and you're meeting with other executives during the job process. It's good to have. It also differentiates you from everybody else, and you want to make sure you're standing out from the pack. Okay, LinkedIn. You want to make sure you have a LinkedIn. So basically, it's kind of amazing how many people trying to break into tech and they have no LinkedIn. That's okay if you've never done LinkedIn before. The company that I partner with, Higher Levels Tech Sales Ascension, they teach you how to develop your LinkedIn skills. Highly recommend. But you want to make sure you have it, and you want to make sure you have a good profile, suit and tie, has a good background, it has a good title, kind of who you are. And it has a mixture of you being in tech and a little bit of your kind of vibe in a lot of ways. And you want to make sure that you are following the companies that you want to get into. Okay, make sure you're following those people. Biggest thing is that you have one at least. And you want to make sure you start building this because your network is your net worth. Your network is an asset, especially in I think down the road. A lot of things that are going to be starting to differentiate people is their communication skills, their sales skills, their leadership skills, their ways of analysis and operational skills, but also their networks. The network is going to be an asset in the long term. So you want to make sure you're building that and building that professionally. And also in tech, there's certain industries that are not really on LinkedIn, which, totally, like HVAC, right? Like people don't really need to be on that. In tech, you need to be on LinkedIn. Okay, so definitely recommend those things. Check out the other videos to really get a good breakdown on everything there. All right, let's go to the second thing, ways to differentiate yourself. Okay, the easiest way in cybersecurity to differentiate yourself, whether in sales or if you're trying to get a cybersecurity role, get your Security Plus certification. Get your Security Plus certification. Is it necessary? No. Will it help you? Absolutely. This really happened a lot of times where we would, when I was doing recruiting for cyber, I get 100 resumes, right, for cybersecurity, especially entry level. One person out of 100 would have the Security Plus. That person got to go to at least, in the process. So I'd really recommend it. It's very easy. Takes a day. I think it's like, I'm really sure. I think it's like 40 to 100 questions. I should actually know this, but it's very easy. It's the lightest of the certifications. It doesn't cost that much, but it really helps on your resume. It helps amazingly. Plus, a lot of people won't even look at your resume in cybersecurity unless you have this. So I would really strongly recommend doing it. Once you start going up the ladder, then it starts getting obviously way more difficult with Network Plus, Certified Ethical Hacker, CISSP, right? There's a bunch of ones that keep going. If you're trying to be in cybersecurity specific as an engineer, I would recommend Security Plus, Certified Ethical Hacker, and then CISSP is kind of the trail you want to blaze when you're doing this. Okay, so that's like kind of if you have a master's in cybersecurity and a CISSP, you're set for life, basically. Okay, if you're trying to break into sales, you don't need all that, but I would recommend having at least a Security Plus. So that's the thing. If you are ex-military, or a veteran, and you have a security clearance, I would recommend at this point actually looking into government contracting. Your security clearance can actually grant you an extra $10,000 or $20,000 of your salary. So it can make you a little bit more money, and you'll stand out more in the crowd. You'll be more in demand with government contracting or ones that do consulting with as subcontractors. So there's a lot of room there if you're a veteran that way. Obviously, if you're a civilian, it's a little tougher to get in. Not impossible. I didn't have one and was able to get in. So I'm just saying that if you are a veteran, that really helps. So those are some things to do. Some vocabulary you want to make sure you start researching on as well. You want to make sure that you look at compliance. Okay, this is cybersecurity compliance. You should know NIST, NIST versus CMMC, Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. Still know it. And you want to make sure you understand RMF, Risk Management Framework. There's actually 6 phases of risk management framework. So you want to make sure you understand phases 1 through 6. You want to understand penetration testing. You want to understand the different ones of encryption, firewall, phishing, Trojan horse. You want to understand malware versus ransomware. You want to understand white hat versus black hat. You want to understand network security versus cloud security versus application security. You want to understand VPN, the virtual private network, what that is. Side note for sales, ransomware is one of the biggest things for sales. I was doing a one-on-one with somebody, and we were talking. He's trying to get into cybersecurity, and we were talking about this. And I was telling him a little bit of like kind of the pitches I would use as an account executive. One of which is obviously ransomware, where actually a lot of companies, smaller businesses get caught up in ransomware 10 times more than like big companies. A lot of people think that cybersecurity is only after big companies. No, because it's they actually go after small and medium-sized businesses because it's easy pickings. They don't have a cybersecurity network. There's no firewall there. It's easy to get into. And then they hold all your private information, and that's what's called, and they hold it for ransomware, until you release it or you pay small enough where your insurance will cover it. Okay, so that's the thing. It's a pretty crazy thing, but this is actually what kind of happens all the time, more often than you know. I remember when I heard about this, was just getting started. I was playing. This is a true story. I was playing pickleball, and one guy he's like, I think he was the CFO, and he said this happened exactly to my company. So this happens actually pretty often. So be aware, especially ransomware. And funny enough, it might be good if you're looking into cyber jobs, looking into ransomware prevention companies. Just a thought. Okay. You also want to know the 5 C's, the 5 C's of cybersecurity: compliance, change, cost, coverage, continuity. Okay, so that's a mouthful. You can Google the 5 C's of cybersecurity, but that is something that you might want to drop in the interview of things that you understand. So all these things, by the way, you don't need to be a master of. I'm not saying that you need to like have this research. Whenever you start a new job, though, especially in a new industry, what I like to do is create a dictionary. I like to create a dictionary of all the terminology. I do my own research. In fact, usually when I hire people, I make them do the same thing, where I don't just give them mine. I want you to create your own. Create your own dictionary, and at the end of the week, I want you to create a PowerPoint presentation on basically, you know, what you've learned about the industry, our product line, things like that. And it's kind of like my own way of getting them to kind of think about it versus me just giving it to them. They learn the information themselves. So you have to, here's all the bullet points, but then do a little bit of research and then present during your interview, hey, I know these basics. You don't need to be a master. You just need to know the fundamentals. A lot of companies, it's not, they know you're going to get better over time, but it's really the first 90 days, that learning curve. How can they shorten that so you're like off to the races really fast? And that'll help you stand out because it also saves them, you know, cost of training, and time is money. So think about that. So 5 C's of cybersecurity, know that, know all the things we talked about: ransomware, malware, black hat, white hat, network security, you know, RMF, RMF, risk management framework, all those things. Okay. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. Job strategy, job hunting strategy. Okay. I'm giving you some free stuff, guys. So I really do hope you guys find the job you want, and it gives you the life that you want as well. Okay? All right, so the job hunting strategy. Let's do this. I want you to make a list of 20 cybersecurity companies that you would want to work for. Okay, you make a list of 20 cybersecurity companies, and you want to make sure that you separate it: companies that are big-sized companies, middle-sized companies, small companies. You also want to make a note on the companies that are closest to you. Okay, companies in your local area or within driving distance up to an hour, whatever you feel, you know, actually up to maybe 2 hours. I'd say up to 2 hours. It's pretty okay. And then when you look at these companies, you make a list of 20. You look at their competitors. So now you have a list of 100. That's what you do. And I want you to reorder it in order of priority of your preference. Your preference of like, hey, you know what? This one resonates with me. This one has an amazing product that I know is going to be in demand. Wow, I was checking them out online. I actually like what they're doing. Their leadership is really cool. Their company culture is really cool. So you have this list of 20 to 100. If you have 200 companies, that's amazing. But make it easy for yourself. Start with 20. Start there, and then keep adding it over time. You don't have to do this all at once, but I would definitely start with minimum 20. You order in priority, and then you are making your spreadsheet, making a whole list of, and I'll probably add this to the free Google Docs, Google Shared Drive, probably kind of a template that you can use. But you look at the job boards first. I would recommend only looking at jobs that have been posted within the week. Okay, something that happens is this has happened to me too, where so I know from experience. But if a job has been open over 30 days, I mean, you got to look at the number of applicants. If it's like 5 applicants, okay, maybe it wasn't picked up by like the LinkedIn algorithm. Otherwise, maybe if they have like 500 applications and it's a month later, they're probably knee deep already in the interview process with a bunch of other ones that are going to panel. So you'll probably miss the boat. But you want to make sure that you are applying to jobs that have been posted ideally in the last 48 hours, up to about a week, okay? That way, usually with recruiters, they'll get to like a 200 applications point and then shut it off. And then they're only reviewing those first 200 applications. So timing really is everything. When you have a good network, when you have a good referral basis, ideally, you're the top of mind. You are the first person they call before they post the job. That's the mega ideal scenario. But when you're starting off, not everybody has that. So make sure with the job boards that you post within the week it was you submit your resume the week it was posted. Okay, ideally the first 48 hours. Okay, you want to make sure you're reaching out to the hiring manager or whoever is the department head. You want to make sure that you are sending a LinkedIn connection and you're adding a private note. You're adding a private note that says, a little bit about yourself. Hey, you just submitted your resume. Very excited. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I can bring to the table. Something along those lines. Or, hey, would love to kind of talk to you a little bit about the position. I think I could be a great fit. And if not, I would still like to keep in touch as a professional relationship. Or something like that. Bonus tip is to be using your voice or a video message. Similar to this. Using a voice or video message, and you could put that, this is what a lot of AEs are doing, you could put that in the note with a connection request. You can either use InMail or connection request with a note. There's a few ways that you can do it. If you have LinkedIn on your app, you can actually send a voice memo through messaging. If you have, one thing that I do is Loom. That's one sharing thing. Another one that I use is called Vidyard. That's one that I'm a fan of. So Vidyard, and I post the link, and it's a private message that's 30 to 60 seconds long, introducing myself. You can use this for your job hunting, or you can use this for your sales, okay? I would really recommend use this for your job hunting, okay? And by the way, I bet you this strategy is gonna help you in 2024. I don't know about 2025 because I have a feeling it's gonna be very widespread at that point. So beginning of 2024 and probably throughout, this is a very effective strategy. So just a heads up, I really do hope this helps you. But if you wait too long, you might miss the window. All right, make sure you follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. When it comes to job hunting, you should be following up on a weekly basis. Tactfully, nicely, simply. Small messages, just like, hey, we just wanted to know, what can I do to kind of be a part of the job interview process? Or, hey, just wanted to check on the status. Hey, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about it. Something like that, very easy, not too aggressive. I get phone calls of people who got mad at me that I didn't review their resume like the next day they sent it. I mean, do you think I'm going to hire you? Like if you have an attitude? So make sure you do this politely and be a little aware. Sometimes recruiters are overwhelmed if they have 500 resumes they got to go through. So be a little tactful on the approach, but you definitely want to follow up. If there's no job posted, say you have your list of 100 companies and there's no jobs posted. Okay, what do? You still start reaching out. And I would recommend reaching out to 2 or 3 people within the company. You can pretty much figure out on LinkedIn who is the HR manager or still the department head. somebody that you can connect with and do an informational interview. Still have a talk with them for 10, 15 minutes and get their insight on how to break into the industry. This forms a good connection for long-term benefits. And then at the end of the 15 minutes, you're like, by the way, I am trying to look around. Is there anyone you recommend I talk to? Or is there any other companies you think I should be checking out? And start building that network. Those informational interviews can become clients down the road. They become job prospects down the road. So you have the job boards for short term, like, hey, they're hiring right now. And then you have a long-term approach that, hey, maybe a job will come up in the next 6 months. They'd be a good referral and a good reference for you, okay? All right, so if you do this, by the way, with 100 companies, statistically, there's no guarantees in life, but statistically, you'll probably get a job, okay? Usually it's about a 2% average, so you'll get 1 or 2 job offers from just doing this technique, okay? If you do it with 100 companies. So I hope that helps. You're welcome. All right, degrees versus boot camps. Let's talk about this. If you guys have seen some of my other videos, I've talked about this where I have mixed feelings on both sides of this equation. If you are in, so one of my most famous videos is computer science versus cybersecurity degree. Okay, the long and short of it is that, and by the way, this was made like 2-3 years ago, which is like before ChatGPT and all this stuff. I would be very worried about anybody who is starting off as a student right now in computer science with just the way technology is going. Unless you're like really in love with it. There's still always going to be a need, but if you're really in love with it, go for it. If you're kind of just hesitant and a little wishy-washy, I would save you the student debt on that one, because a lot of that stuff's going to get automated. Cybersecurity degrees, though, I think are still going to be in demand. I believe are still going to be in demand. I shouldn't say I believe. I think are going to be in demand. So, and for cybersecurity, I would beware of cybersecurity certifications. When I was a recruiter with a lot of department heads, they wouldn't even look at resumes that had cybersecurity certification boot camps or software development coding boot camps. It's like they only wanted the bachelor's or master's people, okay, because there's just too many people in the market. Okay, the only exception to this rule is that you are currently a part of a cybersecurity company. Maybe you came in as a salesperson. Maybe you came in some other format. You're an accountant, I don't know. But the company knows you, and they're willing to train you, and you getting a certification is a way of kind of speeding that up. That's fine, right? Whenever you're choosing a boot camp, by the way, you want to make sure that they have a track record. They have some, track record of people getting jobs from it. So if a company just came out and there's I don't see one testimonial, or you can also look at the amount of people versus the ratio of people who graduated who've gone on to get jobs. Always kind of look at those areas. But when it comes to sales, yeah, definitely recommend boot camp. Obviously, I kind of work with a boot camp. There's a few of my friends who run boot camps that I highly recommend when it comes to sales and cyber sales. When it comes to cybersecurity, I would recommend getting your bachelor's, associate's, or master's. Okay? I think your bachelor's, associate's, or master's, and having also the certifications. Like I said, if you're a salesperson, results are the only thing that really matters. That's kind of what matters, really. Your network matters, your sense of urgency, your communication skills. I would say that, yeah, if you have a tech sales boot camp, definitely helps. Is it necessary? There's people that get it that have never done it. That's okay. But in the current climate, it definitely helps. Cybersecurity, if you have a master's in CISSP, you're guaranteed for life. So hope that helps. Awesome. Let's talk about some continuous learning. Continuous learning. All right, so some books that I would highly recommend. By the way, I saw Napoleon last night with a good friend of mine who's a customer success manager. He's a huge Napoleon fan. He gave me this book. This is my winter reading, by the way. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I want to give you guys some books to help you in your job prospects, learning about sales, or learning about just being better, okay? Favorite book of pretty much all time. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think this is my original copy. Big story, I'll save for another time, but this has been a guiding, this was kind of my start to self-development. It's one of my favorite books ever. Can never get enough of it. How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success Through Selling by Frank Bettger. Old school book on selling, really good on communication skills you can learn a lot from. How to have confidence and power in dealing with people. It's not as harsh as it sounds. Who is it by? Les Giblin. Great book, really talks to you about other communication. The Game of Work. This is really, really good on knowing kind of certain metrics. Same thing with this. I think it's the same, same author. These two, Game of Work and Managing the Obvious. I think I read this one first. It's really, really good. But then I read this one. I think this one's a little bit better. So Managing the Obvious, really good on kind of implementing metrics into your day-to-day. Also, How to Design Your Career Work Life is another book. I remember I got that from the library, so I don't have it with me. But Design Your Work Life is a great book that also how to use analytics in your day to structure your day. Shout out for my old boss on giving me this one. Measure What Matters. Measure What Matters. Talks about, specifically in the tech industry, how they kind of look at success and ways of kind of daily planning, objectives and key results, OKRs, for any of those. This is also a book. I haven't finished it yet, but it's a great book. I've been watching the author for some time. The New Model of Selling. This is a very updated way of doing selling. The New Model of Selling by Jeremy Miner. Very good. Talks about NEPQ. That's one approach that I would. Neuro-emotional persuasive questions. Yeah. So definitely recommend checking that out as well. Okay. So those are some resources for books. By the way, if you read, it's the fastest way to change your neuroplasticity. Okay. If you want to do one thing that's going to make your year a changing year, read books, read 30 minutes a day. Leaders are readers, so definitely recommend that. Okay, make this kind of finish this up here. All right, resources and recommendations. So if you're trying to find a job, here are some resources I recommend. I've included all the links below. They give you a discount for all of them, which is really nice. First one, Pathrise. It's totally free, and they help you find a job. So I found this resource. People who've used it have given me a lot of great feedback. I haven't used them myself, but I trust them. They've done a great job. So Pathrise is completely free. You do have to pay once you get the job. So it's almost like a little bit of a loan service where it's like it's free right now. You only pay if they find you a job, and then you kind of pay a percentage of your first year salary. Kind of worth checking out, and use the link below. It gets you to the front of the line. So very worth having. Second thing. Higher levels, okay? This is the tech sales bootcamp that I work with. If you ever talk to me, it's a very interesting story how I met all these people. And they have two boot camps. One is the Tech Sales Ascension. The other one is called the SDR Accelerator. Okay, both are really, really good. I've been on both. I lead personally the resume review once a week. So you get to network with me. It's a great network for long-term building. Great mastermind to have. You get great information. It's from people who are in tech. So I'm the hiring manager. Obviously, you get kind of my recruiting background. But there's people who are AEs in different areas of tech, people who are still BDRs and SDRs, and they all report back. So it's great information to have. If you decide to use the link below, you get 10% off. And I'll also gift you for free, won't find it anywhere else, a free one-on-one if you choose to use. Okay, we can either do it right away when you purchase, and we do a one-on-one, we do a whole strategy session, or if you want to use it for a mock interview, I can help you with that. And I have a pretty good track record. I was checking kind of statistics. Over 50% of the people I've done one-on-ones with for a mock interview have gotten the targeted job that they wanted. Okay, so that's a pretty good record. So the Tech Sales Ascension is a way of basically breaking into tech, teaches you how to do that. SDR accelerators, once you're in tech, how to become the best in your company as an SDR, okay? And we have a bunch of people that have already been crushing it. So it's a really good thing. The weekly calls are essential, I think. Next thing, if you're trying to break into sales engineering, which is now becoming a little bit more popular, I would recommend Careerist, okay? My good friend Ryan Freese actually does that training. And we've done videos together. There's a video that we did about sales engineering. You should check out that video. The Careerist actually has a new thing called QA automation. So funny enough, two areas that are going to be growing in 2024 and 2025, funny enough, are going to be in cybersecurity and QA, quality assurance automation. And funny enough, that's the company I work with right now. It's a quality assurance automation company. It's funny how life works that way. So they also have how to be a QA engineer and a sales engineer in that program. You get a $200 discount if you use that. Definitely recommend checking that out. If you're looking, and if you want a job, you should probably apply to my company. So, and I'll link to it in the below. Next thing is course careers. Course careers, I have mixed opinions. I don't think they're perfect, but you know, I've seen people get good jobs from it. If you're going to do tech sales, definitely do tech sales ascension. If you're going to do sales engineering, definitely do careerist. They do have other courses that are software DevOps and data analytics. And if you're into that thing, maybe check that out. That might be your thing. If you're looking for my personal website and want to connect with me, resume2offer.com. You can connect with me. You can book. I can actually optimize your resume so it's ATS compliant, or if you want to schedule a one-on-one with me. I also just came out with a bit of a blueprint, you know, recently, where it's basically my day-to-day. And I'm really into biohacking. I'm really into, and I basically talk about a bunch of things that I've been utilizing over this last year that have given me a lot of great results. And I kind of put that into a blueprint. It's not really an ebook. It's kind of more like a checklist almost in a lot of ways. But if you want, you can get that from the website. Okay. Also, yeah, I mentioned the QA company I work with. You know, it's called TestJet. We just hired a new BDR. We'll be hiring more salespeople over the next year, and we'll be hiring a bunch of other new positions and engineers. So feel free to reach out, send me your resume if you'd like. The cybersecurity company I worked with, okay, if you want to look at the cybersecurity company, it's called La Jolla Logic in San Diego. Worked with them for about almost 4 years, and great company. I think the leadership had a lot of integrity. They were always good to me, always fair with me. I really had a great time working with them. They recently got bought by Boeing. So if you're looking at kind of cybersecurity that maybe you want to consider, I'd recommend sending your resume there. No guarantees, obviously, but they were a great company to work with. If you're looking for a staffing company that either you want to work for, or maybe if you send your resume, they might have a few. I know they have a few tech clients. At least when I was there, I was working, we had a few fintech clients that I would work with. One is, so it's called MyTod, which stands for Talent on Demand. I will link to their LinkedIn. And you can reach out to the recruiting team. Some of the recruiters I recommend talking to that might be able to help. Make sure they got their own clients and everything. But if they have different companies, might be worth checking out. Javier Camerlinga, Scarlett Ross, Ira Rosca, Rihanna Herrick, Corey Schiltz. Corey Schiltz is probably the most positive guy I've ever met on the planet. he's amazing. But you can send your resume to them and just see they might have some job openings. Might be able to get an internal perspective on that. If you're looking forward to become a recruiter, I would recommend actually contacting Michael Portillo. Michael Portillo, man, I knew this guy in high school. It's funny enough. He is the hiring manager for that recruiting firm. So if you want to kind of get into it and are looking to learn how to do sales and account executive from a recruiter's perspective, might be a person to network with. Okay, no guarantees again, but still worth kind of giving a shout out over LinkedIn. Okay, overall, you need to decide what you want to do, but also when you're job hunting, make sure to not just go after the money. I know the cost of living is crazy right now, but don't just go after the money because it's only going to get you so far. Everybody who does it for the money burn out after a year or two. Okay, this happens in every industry across the board. So you need to decide what you want to do in life. You have to also identify and do an audit on yourself on where is your natural skill sets. Where do you what it comes easy to you? Where are your strengths? But also, what is also going to be in demand for the next 2 to 5 years? Coming down the track, what are going to be the in-demand skill sets? And that's kind of where you want to position yourself. What do you want to do? What are you naturally good at? What's going to be in demand, right? So use all the resources I've kind of outlined, and also use the one that resonates with you. That would be my biggest advice. You still do more shopping, but I would do the one that resonates with you. Obviously, if I would recommend higher levels in Tech Sales Ascension, because then you get access to me, and I can kind of help you a lot more one-on-one. But do the one that resonates with you, that that kind of like you think is going to get you to where you want to be. I wish you guys all the best of luck, and I hope you guys make 2024 one of the best years yet. All right, guys, have a great one. Cheers.